Stop right there, criminal scum!
Whoa guys, sheath your dislikes for now. Let me explain. This is not a, oh the sky is falling, Destiny 2 is over, it's finished type video. This is just me explaining how I went from daily uploading pretty much only PvP videos for like 2.5 years to barely uploading them at all. By the way guys, my brand new hoodie just came out today. This is a new take on a design that I scribbled on a notebook in college. The hoodie is nice and thick, heavy, high quality. Overall, a beautiful piece of art, so make sure to check it out using the link in the description and use code SIRD for a discount. And by the way, stopping making PvP videos was not even really a conscious decision. I kind of just looked back at the last few years and realized, oh, I haven't really made any PvP videos. To organize this video, I'm gonna break it down into 3 different categories. The first category is Destiny 2 gameplay. The second category is a career shift type deal. And then the third category is stuff that changed or happened as a result of the first 2 things that I mentioned. So starting with Destiny 2 gameplay, it was 2020. I was just coming back from a 2-year hiatus in Fortnite, and I gotta say, I despised Fortnite at that point in time. I would rather be flipping burgers, to be honest. I was heavily just kind of considering giving up on YouTube, finishing up school, but then I decided, you know what, let me give Destiny 2 one last swirl, one last go. And everything kind of took off. I was just now coming back to the game, it was fresh for me, and a lot of other people were brand new to Destiny as well, so I kind of fit in that crowd of being like the new guy that didn't really know a lot about anything that came out in the past 2 years. So I really blended in with this new demographic of players, but also I was a top player in Destiny 1, so I had tons of experience, so I kind of just hit the ground running. The gameplay was a lot more simple back then. Everything was not subclass 3.0, there was no stasis, there was no strand, it didn't feel like PvP games were complete mayhem, and it was tons of fun. And my content at that time was kind of just using exotics that came out that I missed, that I'd never used before, or using new exotics, or using god roll weapons, or weapons with horrible rolls, weapons that I felt were painfully average. And because the game was more simple at that time, and maybe people were just worse, I could just kind of run around with whatever weapon I wanted on whatever subclass and have a great time. And something that was different about back then that is not true now is that because I was daily uploading, that means I was recording every day. So I had at least like an hour and a half of playtime every single day. And I'll get into this a little bit more later, but because the videos now take 3, 4, 5 days sometimes, having a 5-day gap in between playing any video games, you generally need like 30, 40 minutes to kind of get back into the groove of things. And that's like, you know, 80% of my recording time. So now when I try to hop in and do a PvP video, I feel very awkward talking because I haven't recorded in a week. I feel awkward playing because I haven't played in a week. And then that in combination with the game's skill gap kind of being watered down, it felt like all of my gameplays were like, kill one person, die. Kill one person, die. There weren't like any crazy things happening in the games that I felt were super entertaining. So at that point in time, the only fun gameplay videos that I could make were ones that are on specifically god rolls of really good guns. Messing around with the exotics that aren't so great, or poorly rolled weapons, or weapons that just aren't the best. It became a lot more miserable. And on that note, I think that if all of my PvP videos now were just me using whatever loadout I wanted, I think that I would have a lot more fun. But it's like, for those videos, you're trying new stuff you've never used before that might not be the best. And all of that kind of, you know, in conjunction just doesn't really make it fun, at least for me. And that's a really important thing because for the style of videos that I was making and kind of the videos I still make, it's really important that you have fun because they're supposed to be high energy, kind of funny, fast-paced videos. And if you're not having a good time, those just don't work. Either that or you just have to like fake it kind of. But don't get me wrong, it is not only just how Destiny's gameplay has changed, it is also just how my channel has changed. The reality is that you can only make so many videos so many times in a row before either A, I get bored of editing them, or B, people get bored of watching them, and kind of both of those things were happening. Looking back at it now, I feel like I'm kind of just like satisfied with my body of work. Like, you know, those videos were what they were and I don't feel like I need to keep making the same ones because you can only slap on fart sound effects and bell sound effects and slipping sound effects so many times before the gimmick gets a little bit old and you have to adapt. The channels that stick around for the longest on YouTube, you have to keep changing and evolve and get better in some way, or else people are just gonna get bored of you. So that's where my decision in the middle of 2022 came in, because at that point in time, I was still doing the daily videos. And one of the pitfalls of the daily video is that if you have to get a video out every single day, you're eventually going to reach a point in time, and that's what I reached, where the level of editing was such that if I had no extra time in the day. So it reached a point where each video took roughly 14 hours to finish. So if every video takes 14 hours to finish, and about an hour and a half of that is recording every day, that's 15 and a half hours of quote unquote working 7 days a week. And you reach a point where you're like, I don't have time to try anything new. I can't download this new plugin and see if I can come up with some cool new effect or a cool new method for making the videos or anything like that, because you're constantly in like, okay, I don't have any time to waste. If I can't think of something in 4 seconds for this little segment of the video, I just have to move on. And that led to there being just absolutely no growth in the videos. So I decided, okay, I'm done with the daily videos. Now I'm gonna make one video every other day. And that worked out great. Honestly, that was like a huge revitalization where I was able to start doing new stuff, trying new stuff, spending more time on just scheduling good content. And it was a great thing. But then the same thing happens where you can barely finish the video in 2 days. So then I gave myself 3 days, and then 4 days, and then 5 days. And then now it's just kind of like the video is going to take however long it takes. And that's it. There's no real time crunch or rush to it. But the result of that is that now each video, just editing wise, takes like 50, 60, sometimes 70 hours. So when it comes to PvP videos of me just using some random weapon that nobody really cares about that much, it's really difficult to want to sit down and spend 50 hours on some random copy pasted, slightly different auto rifle from 4 years ago, if that makes sense. And that's just kind of a problem I'm having with all of my videos now, where I feel like the amount of time that I'm spending with each video is too much for what the recording is worth, if that makes sense. Like, if I'm just doing a master dungeon for the first time with like a buddy of mine, sure, you know, that's good content in a sense, but is it really worth spending 60 hours on something that you guys do every day, right? Your first dungeon run of whatever dungeon, it's not that special. And as a result of all this, like I kind of touched on earlier, with when you play way less, like I said, you get worse, right? Because you have no practice. You're playing an hour a day, and you're playing once every 5 days, which means I just end up not making PvP videos at all, which means I end up not playing PvP at all. So like when I sat down to start working on an Iron Banner video, which will be my next one, I haven't even played PvP in like a month. And so if you don't really like the meta and you're always washed up, you're always out of practice, you're never in the rhythm of anything because you never get to play, you just kind of set it aside. And the more interesting PvP content that I would want to make content on, like trials or comp, or I guess sometimes Iron Banner, is too intimidating because I know that it's more difficult, you know, PvP content to make. And I know that I'm so washed and out of practice that I'm like, okay, it's easier to just, you know, mess around in the new seasonal story with Outlander, or do another drinking video with one of my buddies or something like that. And then on top of that, if you look at a lot of PvP streamers, trials and comp is kind of all they ever upload. So it's a really saturated kind of category. So then I start thinking, like, do people really need another comp video, or do they really need another trials video? And then I just end up not making them. So all this to say that I'm very proud of the PvP era that I had. I mean, I made only PvP videos for like 7 or 8 years, and I'm still gonna make them from time to time, but it's only when it's worth making a PvP video on, when there's a really good weapon or there's a really cool new exotic. But the days of me making videos on some Thaljoc C with some mediocre perks, those days are done. With that said, I'm really excited to be making videos on new games, and I know that it's kind of weird. Like, a lot of Destiny people in particular, it's like as soon as they try to make videos for other games, people are like, yeah dude, that's great, no thank you. So I really appreciate all the support you guys showed on the Halo video, the Counter-Strike videos, and because those videos have done well, I'm working on an Overwatch 2 video, and then also a Lethal Company video. I know everyone is saying to play the finals. I like the finals a lot, I just don't know if I like it enough to make a, you know, 15-minute video on it, if that makes sense. Maybe in the future. So thank you for watching. If I did make another PvP video soon besides the Iron Banner one that I'm working on, what sort of PvP video would you want to see? Maybe a little bit of comp, maybe a little bit of trials, maybe another exotic weapon review. Just let me know in the comment section. I also used to get a little more creative with the PvP things, like doing the gun game videos where I had to swap to a new weapon after every kill. So maybe I'll bring some of that stuff back. The main reason I haven't like really dug my heels into ultra specific Destiny content is, like I said, I feel like I'm leaning a little bit more into variety now. So if I make Destiny content that is not broad, like it's very narrow and specific, I feel like that's not good for like the channel branding going into making more variety content. So that's another thing I kind of forgot to mention, is I'm having like a major identity crisis right now, where like there's so many pieces of Destiny content that I feel like I should make content on, but I'm also like, I feel like I'm kind of, you know, nearing the end with Destiny, so I don't know if it makes sense to like really dig my heels into that. So that's a whole nother crisis. But anyways, thank you for watching. If you dropped a like, that would go a long ways. I truly appreciate it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, a new hoodie just came out. Make sure to check it out. It's super high quality, super thick. I love it. A link will be in the description, and hopefully I catch you in my next video.
Make it all be over, make it all a breeze. The shit is feeling slower than the growing of the trees. I know I get back someday, but right now I should rest. Just taking care of me now, oh Lord, she is the best.